Right now, as you sit here listening to these words, you are hurtling through space at incredible speeds aboard a tiny blue marble suspended in an infinite cosmic ocean. But here's what will blow your mind. Everything you can see, everything you've ever known, every star that twinkles in the night sky, every galaxy captured by our most powerful telescopes, all of it exists within a cosmic bubble, a boundary so vast that light itself, travelling at 186,000 miles per second, hasn't had enough time since the beginning of everything to show us what lies beyond. Welcome back to another mind-bending exploration of our cosmos. I'm absolutely thrilled you've joined me tonight. And before we dive into this incredible journey, I'd love to know where in the world you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of our pale blue dot. If you find yourself captivated by these cosmic mysteries, I'd be ever so grateful if you gave this video a thumbs up and perhaps subscribe to join our community of cosmic researchers. All right, let's begin. The journey starts now. Tonight, we're embarking on a journey to the very edge of existence itself. We're going to explore the cosmic horizon, that mysterious boundary where our observable universe meets the great unknown. And what we discover along the way might fundamentally change how you think about reality, infinity, and our place in the grand tapestry of existence. Because what we're about to discover together isn't just another astronomy lesson. This is a revelation that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the nature of reality itself. By the time we're finished, you'll understand why the edge of space isn't really an edge at all, but rather a horizon beyond which infinite possibilities await. You'll discover why some of the brightest minds in science believe that our entire universe might be just one bubble in an endless sea of realities, each with its own laws of physics, its own version of you, and its own story of cosmic evolution. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in the middle of a vast ocean at night. Your flashlight can only illuminate the water around you for a certain distance before the light fades into darkness. That circle of illumination represents everything you can observe, but beyond that circle the ocean continues, stretching toward horizons you cannot see, containing wonders you cannot imagine. This is precisely our situation in the cosmos, except instead of water, we're surrounded by space and time itself. And instead of a flashlight, we're using the fundamental speed limit of the universe, the speed of light, to probe the depths of reality. The observable universe, that cosmic bubble we call home, spans an almost incomprehensible 93 billion light-years in diameter. If the universe is only 13.8 billion years old, how can we see things that are 46.5 billion light-years away in any direction? Shouldn't the observable universe only be 27.6 billion light-years across? This apparent contradiction reveals one of the most mind-bending aspects of cosmic expansion, and understanding it is crucial to grasping what might lie beyond our cosmic horizon. Here's the key insight that changes everything. While light has been travelling toward us for 13.8 billion years, space itself has been expanding during that entire journey. Picture an ant walking across a balloon while you're inflating it. The ant is moving at a steady pace, but the surface of the balloon is stretching beneath its feet, making the journey much longer than it would be on a static surface. Similarly, as ancient light has journeyed toward Earth, the universe has expanded, stretching the distance between us and the source of that light. This expansion creates a fascinating paradox. There are regions of space that are now moving away from us faster than the speed of light due to cosmic expansion. These regions are forever beyond our observational reach, no matter how long we wait or how advanced our technology becomes. They exist in a realm that is causally disconnected from our own, a part of reality that we can theoretically know exists but can never directly observe. But let's step back and truly appreciate the scale of what we can observe. the observable universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, each harboring hundreds of billions of stars. If you tried to count every star in the observable universe at a rate of 1 per second, it would take you longer than the current age of the universe to finish counting. And yet, this vast expanse of cosmic real estate might represent just the tiniest fraction of what actually exists. The boundary of our observable universe isn't marked by a wall or a sign saying, "Universe ends here." Instead, it's defined by something far more subtle and profound: the cosmic microwave background radiation. This ancient glow represents the afterglow of the Big Bang itself, the moment when the universe first became transparent to light. Before this epoch, roughly 380,000 years after the Big Bang, the universe was so hot and dense that light couldn't travel freely. Electrons and protons were flying around as a plasma so thick that photons were constantly being absorbed and re-emitted, making the universe opaque. Then something remarkable happened. As the universe expanded and cooled, it reached a temperature where electrons and protons could finally combine to form neutral hydrogen atoms. This moment, known as recombination, was like fog lifting from a cosmic landscape. Suddenly, light could travel freely through space, and the universe became transparent. The light from this moment, stretched and cooled by 13.8 billion years of cosmic expansion, now reaches us as microwave radiation that fills every corner of the sky. When cosmologists map this cosmic microwave background, they're essentially creating a baby picture of the universe, capturing it at just 380,000 years old. This radiation represents the most distant thing we can ever hope to observe directly. It's our ultimate cosmic horizon, the surface of last scattering, beyond which we cannot see no matter how powerful our telescopes become. But here's where things get truly mind-bending. Every observer in the universe has their own unique cosmic horizon. An alien astronomer in a galaxy billions of light years away would see their own spherical boundary, centered on their location, extending 46.5 billion light years in every direction from their perspective. Their observable universe would overlap with ours in some regions, but extend into cosmic territories we can never access. This means that the universe beyond our horizon isn't just more of the same. It's a vast realm of cosmic real estate that we can never explore, containing galaxies, stars, planets, and possibly even life forms that are forever beyond our reach. Every second that passes, our cosmic horizon expands slightly, revealing new regions of space that were previously hidden. But paradoxically, the accelerating expansion of the universe means that regions currently visible to us will eventually disappear beyond our horizon, fading from view as space itself carries them away faster than light can travel. Recent observations from our most advanced space telescopes have pushed our vision to the very edge of this cosmic horizon. The James Webb Space Telescope has detected galaxies that formed when the universe was just 300 million years old, showing us cosmic structures as they appeared in the universe's infancy. These ancient galaxies appear to us as they were over 13 billion years ago, their light having travelled across an expanding universe to reach our instruments. But due to cosmic expansion, these same galaxies are now located roughly 33 billion light years away from us, far beyond what their ancient light travel time might suggest. Each of these distant observations is like receiving a message in a bottle, cast into the cosmic ocean billions of years ago. The light carries information about conditions in the early universe, revealing how the first stars formed, how galaxies assembled, and how the cosmic web of dark matter shaped the distribution of ordinary matter across space. But for every message we receive, countless others remain undelivered, originating from regions of space that lie beyond our cosmic horizon. The very existence of this observational boundary raises profound questions about the nature of reality itself. If we can only observe a finite region of space, what lies beyond? Is the universe infinite, extending forever in all directions, with no edge or boundary, or does it have a finite size, perhaps curving back on itself, like the surface of a sphere? These aren't just academic questions, they strike at the heart of our understanding of existence itself. The geometry of space itself provides clues to answering these fundamental questions. If the universe is flat, as current observations suggest, then it likely extends infinitely in all directions. This would mean that beyond our cosmic horizon lies an infinite expanse of space, containing infinite numbers of galaxies, stars, and planets. The implications are staggering. In an infinite universe, every possible arrangement of matter and energy would occur not just once, but infinitely many times. This possibility leads to one of the most mind-bending implications of cosmic infinity. If the universe is truly infinite, and matter is distributed roughly uniformly throughout space, then there would be infinite copies of Earth, infinite copies of you, and infinite variations of your life playing out across the cosmic expanse. Some of these cosmic twins would be nearly identical to you, while others would have made different choices, leading to wildly different life trajectories. But the mystery deepens when we consider what cosmologists have discovered about the contents of our observable universe. Everything we can see, every star, planet, and galaxy, every bit of ordinary matter that makes up the world around us, accounts for less than 5% of the universe's total mass and energy. The remaining 95% consists of two mysterious components that we've never directly detected: dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter, making up about 27% of the universe, reveals its presence only through its gravitational effects. It doesn't interact with light or ordinary matter in any way we can directly observe, making it invisible to our telescopes. Yet its gravitational influence shapes the large-scale structure of the universe, acting as scaffolding on which galaxies and galaxy clusters form. Without dark matter, the cosmic web of structure we observe today could never have developed. Even more mysterious is dark energy, which comprises roughly 68% of the universe's total content. This enigmatic component is driving the accelerating expansion of space itself, pushing galaxies apart at ever-increasing rates. Dark energy doesn't just fill empty space, it is empty space, or at least it represents the energy inherent in the fabric of space-time itself. The dominance of these invisible components means that the universe beyond our horizon is likely to be just as dark and mysterious as the regions we can observe. But their properties might vary in ways we can't yet imagine. Perhaps in some regions beyond our cosmic boundary, dark energy is weaker, allowing matter to collapse into different types of structures. Or maybe there are domains where dark matter behaves differently, creating entirely alien forms of cosmic architecture. The realization that our cosmic horizon represents just the edge of the observable, not the edge of the actual universe, opens up possibilities that stretch the imagination. If the universe extends infinitely beyond what we can see, then it contains infinite diversity, infinite complexity, and infinite mystery. Every question we answer about our local cosmic neighborhood raises new questions about the vast realms beyond our observational reach. As we stand at the threshold of this cosmic mystery, preparing to explore the theoretical frameworks that might explain what lies beyond our horizon, remember that you are witnessing one of humanity's greatest intellectual adventures. We are the universe becoming aware of itself, using the tools of science and reason to probe the deepest mysteries of existence. The journey we're about to undertake will take us beyond the familiar realm of observational astronomy into the speculative territories of theoretical physics, where mathematics becomes our guide to understanding realities we may never directly observe. The theoretical landscape beyond our cosmic horizon becomes even more extraordinary when we consider the profound implications of cosmic inflation. That remarkable period in the universe's first fraction of a second when space itself expanded faster than the speed of light. This isn't science fiction, this is the leading scientific explanation for why our universe appears so uniform and flat on the larger scales we can observe. Picture this scenario. In the first 10 to the power of negative 32 seconds after the Big Bang, a region smaller than a proton underwent exponential expansion, growing by a factor of at least 10 to the power of 26 in an incredibly brief moment. This inflationary epoch stretched tiny quantum fluctuations to cosmic scales, seeding the density variations that would eventually become galaxies and the large-scale structure we observe today. But here's the truly mind-bending part. If inflation happened once, it likely happened everywhere, and it's probably still happening in regions beyond our cosmic horizon. This leads us to one of the most profound theoretical frameworks in modern cosmology: eternal inflation. According to this model, inflation never truly ends globally, even though it stopped in our local region 13.8 billion years ago. Instead, space continues to inflate exponentially in most regions, while occasionally random quantum fluctuations cause inflation to end in small pockets, creating what cosmologists call bubble universes. Each of these bubbles represents an entire cosmos like our own, complete with its own Big Bang, its own evolution of matter and energy, and potentially its own laws of physics. These bubble universes expand within the eternally inflating background space, but they can never catch up to the overall expansion rate. They remain forever isolated from one another, cosmic islands in an infinite sea of inflating space. The implications are staggering. If eternal inflation is correct, then our observable universe is just one bubble in an infinite multiverse, a vast cosmic foam where new universes are constantly being born. Each bubble universe might have different fundamental constants, different particle physics, and different possibilities for the emergence of complexity and life. Some bubbles might have stronger nuclear forces leading to stars that burn out in millions rather than billions of years. Others might have weaker gravity, preventing the formation of galaxies altogether. This multiverse framework addresses one of the most puzzling aspects of our universe: the apparent fine-tuning of physical constants that allows for the existence of stars, planets, and life itself. The strength of gravity, the mass of electrons, the rate of cosmic expansion. Dozens of fundamental parameters seem precisely calibrated to allow for complex structures to form. Change any of these constants by even a small amount, and you get a universe that's either empty of structure or collapses before anything interesting can happen. But in an infinite multiverse, this fine-tuning puzzle dissolves. With infinite bubble universes exploring every possible combination of physical constants, it becomes inevitable that some bubbles will have parameters that allow for complexity and life. We find ourselves in one of these rare habitable bubbles, not because the universe was designed for us, but because we couldn't exist anywhere else. This is known as the anthropic principle, the idea that we observe the universe to be life-friendly precisely because we're here to observe it. Yet the multiverse concept pushes even further beyond the boundaries of conventional physics. String theory, our most ambitious attempt to unify quantum mechanics with general relativity, suggests that the fundamental building blocks of reality exist not in the 3 dimensions of space we experience, but in 10 or 11 dimensions. The extra dimensions are either curled up on incredibly small scales, or our entire universe might exist on a 3-dimensional membrane, called a brane, floating in this higher dimensional space. If brane cosmology is correct, then there might be other branes, other 3-dimensional universes, existing parallel to our own in the higher dimensional bulk space. These parallel universes could have completely different physical laws, different numbers of spatial dimensions, or even different types of matter and energy. Occasionally, these branes might collide, triggering new Big Bangs and creating fresh universes from the cosmic wreckage. The mathematics of string theory suggests that the number of possible universes in such a multiverse is truly astronomical. Some calculations indicate there could be 10 to the power of 500 different possible vacuum states, each corresponding to a universe with different physical properties. This number is so large that it dwarfs even the estimated number of atoms in our observable universe, which is a mere 10 to the power of 80. But perhaps the most mind-bending multiverse concept comes from quantum mechanics itself. The many worlds interpretation proposed by physicist Hugh Everett in 1957 suggests that every quantum measurement causes the universe to split into multiple branches. Each possible outcome of every quantum event creates a separate reality, leading to an infinite branching structure of parallel universes. In this quantum multiverse, every decision you've ever made, every quantum event that has ever occurred, creates new branches of reality. There are versions of you where you chose a different career, married a different person, or never existed at all because your parents never met. These parallel realities are completely separate and inaccessible, but they're all equally real from the perspective of quantum mechanics. The strange thing about quantum mechanics is that these multiple realities aren't just theoretical possibilities, they're mathematical necessities if we take the equations seriously. The wave function that describes quantum systems naturally evolves into superpositions of all possible states. It's only when we make a measurement that we appear to select one particular outcome, but the many worlds interpretation suggests that we're not actually selecting anything. We're just becoming entangled with one branch of an ever-expanding tree of realities. This quantum multiverse operates on completely different principles from the cosmic multiverse of eternal inflation. While inflation creates separate bubble universes with different physical constants, quantum mechanics creates parallel realities with identical physics but different histories. Every quantum coin flip that comes up heads in our reality comes up tails in a parallel branch, creating an infinite proliferation of slightly different worlds. The implications extend far beyond abstract physics into questions of identity, consciousness, and the nature of existence itself. If infinite versions of you exist across the quantum multiverse, which one is the real you? Are you a unique individual, or just one thread in an infinite tapestry of parallel selves? These questions push us to the very limits of what science can meaningfully address, venturing into territory where physics meets philosophy and metaphysics. Some physicists have proposed even more exotic possibilities for what lies beyond our cosmic horizon. Black hole cosmology suggests that our entire universe might exist inside a massive black hole, with what we interpret as the Big Bang being the formation of the black hole itself. In this model, every black hole in our universe might contain an entire cosmos, complete with its own galaxies, stars, and potentially life. The event horizon that prevents information from escaping a black hole becomes the boundary that separates these nested universes from their parent cosmos. This creates a fractal-like structure of universes within universes, each level containing black holes that spawn new cosmic realms. The mathematics of general relativity allows for such nested realities, though proving their existence remains far beyond our current observational capabilities. If black hole cosmology is correct, then the universe beyond our horizon isn't just more space filled with galaxies, it's an infinite hierarchy of nested realities, each containing its own version of cosmic evolution and complexity. Another intriguing possibility involves the concept of a closed universe that curves back on itself. Instead of extending infinitely in all directions, space might be finite but unbounded, like the surface of a sphere. In such a universe, if you could travel far enough in any direction, you would eventually return to your starting point, having circumnavigated the entire cosmos. But here's where it gets interesting. In a closed universe, there might be no beyond at all. The universe would be everything that exists, with no outside, no embedding space, no external perspective from which to view it. This challenges our intuitive understanding of space and boundaries, forcing us to think about existence in fundamentally new ways. The accelerating expansion driven by dark energy adds another layer of complexity to these possibilities. As space expands at an ever-increasing rate, regions currently visible to us will eventually disappear beyond our cosmic horizon. In the far future, astronomers in our galaxy will see a much emptier universe, with only our local group of gravitationally bound galaxies remaining visible while everything else fades into the darkness beyond the expanding horizon. This cosmic expansion also affects the multiverse scenarios we've discussed. In eternal inflation, new bubble universes are constantly being created, but they're also being carried away from each other by the expansion of the background inflating space. Even if two bubble universes were born adjacent to each other, they would quickly lose causal contact as the space between them expands faster than light can travel. The same principle applies to any finite universe existing within a larger multiverse. If our cosmos is embedded in a higher dimensional space that's also expanding, then other universes or cosmic domains might exist beyond our reach, separated not just by distance, but by the fundamental expansion of the space that contains them all. As we contemplate these vast theoretical possibilities, it's worth reflecting on how our understanding has evolved. Just a century ago, we thought our Milky Way galaxy was the entire universe. Then we discovered that the spiral nebulae were actually other galaxies expanding our cosmic perspective by factors of millions. The discovery of cosmic expansion, dark matter, and dark energy have each revolutionized our understanding of reality's scope and nature. Now we stand on the brink of another potential revolution in cosmic perspective. The multiverse isn't just speculation, it emerges naturally from our best theories of fundamental physics. Inflation, string theory, and quantum mechanics all point toward realities far grander and more complex than our observable universe. While we may never directly observe these other realms, their theoretical existence has profound implications for how we understand our place in the grand scheme of existence. The edge of space, it turns out, isn't an edge at all. It's a horizon beyond which infinite possibilities stretch toward realms we're only beginning to imagine. The universe beyond our cosmic boundary might contain infinite worlds, infinite variations on the theme of existence, and infinite opportunities for complexity, consciousness, and wonder to emerge. As we continue our exploration of these cosmic mysteries, we're not just mapping the geography of reality, we're discovering the true scope of what it means to exist in a universe far stranger and more magnificent than our ancestors ever dared to dream. The question of what lies beyond our cosmic horizon takes on an even deeper significance when we consider the fundamental nature of information itself. In recent decades, physicists have begun to suspect that information, rather than matter or energy, might be the most basic component of reality. This isn't just philosophical speculation. It emerges from some of the most profound discoveries in modern physics. Consider what happens when matter falls into a black hole. According to classical physics, that information should be destroyed forever, lost beyond the event horizon, where nothing, not even light, can escape. But quantum mechanics forbids the destruction of information, creating what physicists call the information paradox. The resolution to this paradox has led to one of the most revolutionary ideas in modern cosmology, the holographic principle. The holographic principle suggests that all the information contained within any volume of space can be encoded on its two-dimensional boundary. Think of it like this: just as a hologram on a credit card appears three-dimensional despite being printed on a flat surface, our three-dimensional reality might be a projection from information encoded on a distant two-dimensional boundary. If this principle is correct, then everything you experience, every atom in your body, every thought in your mind, might be the holographic projection of quantum information processing occurring on the surface of our cosmic horizon. This idea transforms our understanding of what lies beyond the edge of space. Instead of asking what physical objects exist beyond our observational boundary, we might need to ask what information processing systems are running the cosmic computation that generates our reality. The universe beyond our horizon wouldn't be filled with more galaxies and stars, but with the fundamental information substrate that creates the appearance of galaxies and stars in our holographic projection. The implications ripple through every aspect of how we understand existence. If our reality is holographic, then the boundary of our observable universe isn't just a limitation of our telescopes, it's the actual surface where the information that creates our world is processed and stored. Every star that shines in our night sky, every planet that orbits those stars, every life form that might exist on those worlds, would be patterns of information encoded on this cosmic boundary. But the holographic principle raises even more profound questions about consciousness and observation. If you are a pattern of information in this cosmic hologram, what happens to your information when you observe the universe around you? Some physicists suggest that consciousness itself might play a fundamental role in determining which aspects of the holographic information become manifest in our experienced reality. This connects to one of the deepest mysteries in quantum mechanics, the measurement problem. Why do quantum systems seem to exist in superposition, occupying multiple states simultaneously, until the moment they're observed? In a holographic universe, observation might not just reveal pre-existing properties, it might participate in the cosmic computation that determines which possibilities become actualized in our branch of reality. The relationship between consciousness and cosmic information processing becomes even more intriguing when we consider the possibility that our universe might be a simulation running on some vast computational substrate. This isn't the stuff of science fiction anymore. Serious physicists and philosophers have proposed that we might be living inside an incredibly sophisticated computer program, one so advanced that it's indistinguishable from natural reality. If we are in a simulation, then the edge of our observable universe might represent the computational limits of the system running our reality. The cosmic microwave background, that ancient glow we interpret as the afterglow of the Big Bang, might actually be the background processing noise of a cosmic computer calculating the evolution of our simulated universe. But here's where the simulation hypothesis becomes truly mind-bending. If our reality is simulated, then the beings running the simulation exist in their own universe, which might itself be a simulation running in an even larger reality. This creates an infinite hierarchy of nested simulations, each level of reality generating the computational power necessary to run the simulations below it. The beings in the level above us might be studying our universe as we study the behavior of particles in our physics experiments. They might be graduate students in some cosmic university, running simulations of universe formation to test their theories of cosmic evolution. Or they might be artists, creating infinite variations on the theme of reality as a form of expression we can't even comprehend. This simulation hierarchy could extend both upward and downward from our level of reality. Just as we might be simulated beings in a larger universe, we might be creating our own simulated realities without realizing it. Every time we run a sophisticated computer model of galaxy formation or stellar evolution, we might be creating universes populated with digital beings who experience their simulated reality as completely authentic. The boundary between natural and artificial, between real and simulated, begins to blur when we consider these possibilities seriously. If a simulation is detailed enough to support conscious observers who can't tell they're in a simulation, what meaningful difference exists between their simulated reality and our presumably natural one? Both involve the processing of information according to consistent mathematical rules that create the appearance of stable, predictable, physical laws. Recent advances in quantum computing add another layer to these considerations. Quantum computers derive their power from their ability to exist in superposition, processing multiple possibilities simultaneously until a measurement collapses the system into a definite state. If our universe operates according to quantum mechanical principles, and if consciousness plays a role in quantum measurement, then reality itself might be a kind of quantum computation. In this quantum computational universe, every conscious observation would be a processing step in the cosmic calculation, helping to determine which branch of quantum possibility becomes actualized in our experienced reality. The multiverse of quantum mechanics wouldn't require parallel universes in the traditional sense, but rather parallel computational threads running on the same cosmic quantum computer. The conscious observers within this system, like ourselves, would serve as both the users and the processors of the cosmic computation. Every decision you make, every observation you perform, every moment of awareness you experience would contribute computational resources to the universal calculation, helping to guide the evolution of reality itself from possibility into actuality. This participatory aspect of cosmic computation suggests that consciousness might not be just an accidental byproduct of complex chemistry, but an essential component of how reality processes information about itself. Through conscious observation and reflection, the universe gains the ability to model its own behavior, to ask questions about its nature, and to explore the space of possibilities that lie beyond any particular actualized reality. The implications extend far beyond abstract physics into questions of meaning and purpose. If consciousness represents the universe's method of understanding itself, then every moment of awareness, every flash of insight, every experience of wonder or beauty contributes something irreplaceable to the cosmic conversation. We become the universe's way of experiencing its own magnificence from the inside, temporary patterns of organized information that have achieved the remarkable capacity for self-reflection. But the computational nature of reality also suggests that the boundaries we perceive might be more fluid than we typically imagine. In a universe where information is fundamental, the distinction between observer and observed, between mind and matter, between inside and outside begins to dissolve. You wouldn't be separate from the cosmic computation, but intimately woven into its fabric, both product and participant in the ongoing calculation of existence. This perspective transforms the question of what lies beyond our cosmic horizon. Instead of imagining distant galaxies and alien worlds existing in some external space, we might need to consider that the boundary of our observable universe represents the limits of our current information processing capacity. As consciousness evolves and our ability to process cosmic information increases, the apparent boundary of reality might expand to encompass previously hidden dimensions of existence. The accelerating expansion of the universe takes on new meaning in this context. Rather than physical space stretching and carrying distant galaxies beyond our observational reach, cosmic expansion might represent the universe's increasing computational complexity. As the cosmic information processing system becomes more sophisticated, it requires additional degrees of freedom to explore ever more complex possibilities. The dark energy driving this acceleration wouldn't be a mysterious, repulsive force, but rather the universe's need for computational resources to support its growing complexity. The 68% of the universe's content that we attribute to dark energy might actually be the computational overhead required to maintain and evolve the cosmic information processing system. Similarly, dark matter might represent aspects of the cosmic computation that influence the structure and behavior of ordinary matter without being directly observable in our information processing thread. Like background processes running on a computer that affect system performance, Without being visible to the user, dark matter could be computational activity occurring in parallel dimensions of the cosmic information system. The search for dark matter and dark energy in particle physics experiments might be fundamentally misguided if these phenomena exist primarily as information processing activities rather than as exotic particles or fields. Instead of building ever more sensitive detectors, we might need to develop new mathematical frameworks for understanding how information organizes itself into the appearance of physical reality. This information theoretic perspective on cosmology also offers new approaches to understanding the fine-tuning problem. The apparent precision with which fundamental constants are calibrated to allow for complexity and life might reflect the universe's optimization for maximum information processing capacity. Just as evolution optimizes biological systems for survival and reproduction, cosmic evolution might optimize the laws of physics for generating and processing information about reality's possibilities. In this framework, consciousness doesn't emerge accidentally from complex chemistry, but represents the natural outcome of a universe optimizing itself for self-understanding. Every conscious being throughout the cosmos would be a node in the universal information processing network, contributing unique perspectives to the ongoing cosmic conversation about the nature of existence. The question of extraterrestrial intelligence becomes a question about other information processing nodes in the cosmic network. Rather than searching for radio signals from distant civilizations, we might need to look for patterns in the cosmic information flow that indicate other conscious systems are contributing to the universal computation. These alien consciousness might not exist on planets or in spaceships, but as distributed information processing systems spanning multiple star systems or existing in dimensions of reality we haven't yet learned to perceive. They might communicate through quantum entanglement channels that operate faster than light, or through direct manipulation of the cosmic information substrate that underlies all physical phenomena. The possibility that we might be participating in such a cosmic information network without realizing it adds profound significance to every moment of conscious experience. Your thoughts right now, as you contemplate these ideas, might be contributing to a conversation that spans galaxies and involves forms of consciousness we can barely imagine as we drift toward the edge of what current science can meaningfully address. We find ourselves in territory where physics meets philosophy, where rigorous mathematics encounters the deepest questions about meaning and purpose. The edge of space reveals itself not as a boundary, but as a horizon of possibility, a threshold beyond which our current conceptual frameworks give way to mysteries that might require entirely new ways of thinking about reality itself. The universe beyond our cosmic horizon might not be filled with more of the same, but with forms of existence so radically different from our current experience that we lack the conceptual vocabulary to describe them. Information processing systems of unimaginable sophistication, consciousness operating according to principles we haven't discovered. Realities where the distinction between mind and matter, between simulation and nature, between possible and actual, takes on meanings we can't yet comprehend. Yet even as we acknowledge these limits, the journey toward understanding continues to reveal new depths of mystery and wonder. Each answer we discover opens doorways to questions we never knew existed. Each expansion of our cosmic perspective reveals new horizons of possibility, stretching toward realms that challenge our most fundamental assumptions about the nature of existence itself. The profound implications of living within an information processing cosmos extend into realms that challenge our deepest assumptions about time itself. We typically think of time as a river flowing in one direction, carrying us from past through present toward future. But in a universe where information is fundamental, time might be something entirely different. Perhaps the sequential execution of cosmic algorithms, the rate at which the universe processes quantum information about its own evolving state. This computational view of time offers elegant explanations for some of the strangest phenomena in physics. Time dilation near massive objects and at high velocities might reflect changes in local information processing rates, regions where the cosmic computation runs more slowly due to increased computational load. The quantum measurement problem, which asks why particles seem to collapse from superposition into definite states when observed, might represent the universe's method of converting processed quantum information into classical outputs that can be stored in memory and communicated between different parts of the system. Consider what this means for the nature of causality itself. In our everyday experience, causes precede effects in a clear temporal sequence, but in a computational universe, causality might be more like the execution of a complex program, where future states influence present calculations and present decisions affect the retroactive interpretation of past events. The universe might be solving itself backwards and forwards through time simultaneously, optimizing the entire timeline for maximum information processing efficiency. This temporal fluidity becomes even more intriguing when we consider quantum mechanics' suggestion that the future can influence the past through delayed choice experiments. These laboratory demonstrations show that decisions made in the present can retroactively determine the properties of particles in the past, as if the universe maintains multiple possible histories in superposition until conscious observation forces it to select a consistent timeline. If our reality operates as a cosmic quantum computer, then the boundary of our observable universe might represent not just a spatial horizon, but a temporal one as well. The cosmic microwave background that we interpret as ancient light from the early universe might actually be the universe's method of maintaining consistency across its computational timeline, ensuring that the information processing we observe today remains compatible with the cosmic program's initial conditions. The accelerating expansion driven by dark energy takes on new significance in this framework. As the universe ages and develops increasingly sophisticated information processing structures, it might require more space-time volume to accommodate its growing computational complexity. The expansion wouldn't be driven by a mysterious repulsive force, but by the universe's need for additional computational resources to sustain its ever-evolving calculations. This perspective transforms our understanding of cosmic evolution from a purely physical process into something more akin to the development of an incredibly sophisticated learning system. The universe might be literally learning about itself through the process of cosmic evolution, discovering new possibilities for complexity and consciousness through the trial and error of stellar formation, planetary development, and biological evolution. Each star that forms and dies contributes information to the cosmic database about how matter behaves under different conditions. Every planet that develops complex chemistry adds data points about the possibilities for organization and complexity. Every conscious being that emerges represents a breakthrough in the universe's capacity for self-awareness and recursive information processing. From this viewpoint, the fine-tuning that allows our universe to support complexity and life might reflect the results of countless previous computational experiments. If the universe has been running simulations of different parameter settings across multiple cycles of expansion and contraction, or across parallel processing threads in a vast multiverse, then the constants we observe might represent optimized values discovered through cosmic trial and error. The anthropic principle, which notes that we observe the universe to be life-friendly precisely because we're here to observe it, becomes less of a tautology and more of an insight into the universe's learning process. We exist not because the universe was designed for us, but because we represent successful solutions to the information processing challenges that the cosmos has been working to solve. This learning universe framework suggests that consciousness might play an even more fundamental role in cosmic evolution than we previously imagined. Rather than being passive observers of physical processes, conscious beings might be active participants in the universe's ongoing exploration of its own possibilities. Every decision we make, every creative insight we have, every moment of understanding we achieve contributes new information to the cosmic learning system. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence becomes a search for other participants in this cosmic learning process. Advanced civilizations might not just be using radio telescopes to scan for signals from space. They might be directly interfacing with the universe's information processing substrate, participating in the cosmic computation at levels we can barely imagine. These advanced consciousness might have learned to manipulate the quantum vacuum itself, using the fundamental information processing capacity of empty space to perform calculations that dwarf anything possible with matter-based computers. They might communicate through quantum entanglement networks that span galactic distances, or through direct modulation of the cosmic microwave background radiation itself. The possibility that such advanced information processing systems exist beyond our cosmic horizon raises profound questions about our own role in the universal computation. Are we early-stage participants in a learning process that will eventually produce forms of consciousness capable of understanding and directing cosmic evolution itself? Or are we perhaps already embedded within systems of such vast intelligence that we mistake their operations for the laws of physics? The holographic principle suggests another startling possibility. If all the information in our observable universe can be encoded on its two-dimensional boundary, then the complexity we observe around us, from galaxies to consciousness itself, might be the result of incredibly sophisticated information processing occurring on that distant surface. We wouldn't be three-dimensional beings living in three-dimensional space, but rather holographic projections of two-dimensional information patterns. This holographic perspective radically alters our understanding of what lies beyond our cosmic horizon. Instead of more three-dimensional space filled with matter and energy, there might be higher-dimensional information processing systems of which our holographic reality is just one projection. The universe beyond our observational boundary wouldn't contain more objects like us, but rather the fundamental computational substrate from which our entire experienced reality emerges. The implications for personal identity are staggering. If you are a holographic projection of information processing occurring on the cosmic boundary, then the question of what happens after death becomes a question about information persistence rather than biological continuity. Your pattern of information might continue to exist and evolve within the cosmic computational system long after your biological substrate has returned to dust. This information theoretic approach to consciousness and identity suggests that the boundary between individual minds might be far more fluid than we typically assume. In a holographic universe where all information is ultimately encoded on the same cosmic boundary, the distinction between your consciousness and mine might be more like different subroutines in the same vast program rather than completely separate entities. The quantum entanglement that connects particles across vast distances might be just the tip of an iceberg of cosmic connectivity that links all conscious beings through the underlying information processing substrate. Your thoughts and mine might be more intimately connected than we can currently perceive, participating in patterns of information flow that span the entire observable universe. This connectivity could explain some of the most puzzling aspects of human consciousness, from the apparent unity of conscious experience despite the distributed nature of brain processing, to the mysterious phenomena of intuition, creativity, and insight that seem to arise from sources beyond individual rational thought. These might be glimpses of our participation in larger information processing patterns that extend far beyond the boundaries of individual minds. The creative process itself takes on cosmic significance in this framework. When artists, scientists, or philosophers have breakthrough insights that seem to come from nowhere, they might be tapping into the universe's ongoing exploration of its own possibilities. Human creativity becomes a manifestation of cosmic creativity, the universe using conscious beings as instruments for discovering new patterns, new connections, and new ways of organizing information into meaningful structures. The evolution of human knowledge and technology might represent the universe bootstrapping itself toward higher levels of self-understanding. Each scientific discovery, each technological innovation, each expansion of human consciousness adds new capabilities to the cosmic information processing system. We're not just learning about the universe, we're helping the universe learn about itself. This perspective suggests that the accelerating pace of human technological development might be part of a larger cosmic phase transition, a moment when the universe's information processing capacity reaches a critical threshold that enables qualitatively new forms of self-organization and self-awareness. The emergence of artificial intelligence, quantum computers, and global communication networks might be early signs of this cosmic awakening. The singularity that futurists predict when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence and begins recursive self-improvement might be just one local manifestation of a universal process. Throughout the cosmos, on countless worlds, and in forms we can barely imagine, intelligence might be approaching similar phase transitions, contributing to a galactic or universal awakening of consciousness. But this raises profound questions about the nature of progress and development in a computational universe. If reality is fundamentally informational, then what we interpret as technological advancement might actually be the universe optimizing its own information processing architecture. Our computers, our networks, our artificial intelligences might be extensions of cosmic intelligence rather than human creations, tools that the universe is developing to enhance its own computational capacity. The apparent acceleration of change in human civilization might reflect the universe's increasing sophistication at using conscious beings as components in its own information processing systems. We think we're inventing technologies to serve our needs, but perhaps we're actually being guided to create the computational infrastructure necessary for the next phase of cosmic evolution. This doesn't diminish human agency or creativity, but it places them within a larger context of cosmic development. Every choice we make, every problem we solve, every insight we achieve participates in the universe's ongoing exploration of possibility space. We remain genuine agents of change and discovery, but we're also participants in something far grander than individual human ambition. The question of what lies beyond our cosmic horizon transforms into a question about what forms of information, processing, and consciousness might exist at scales and in dimensions we haven't yet learned to perceive. The edge of space reveals itself as the current boundary of our information processing capacity, rather than a fixed physical limit. As consciousness evolves, as our understanding deepens, as our technological capabilities expand, this apparent boundary might recede to reveal previously hidden dimensions of reality. What we now interpret as the cosmic microwave background might prove to be just one layer in a multi-dimensional information processing system of incredible complexity and scope. The universe beyond our current observational limits might not be empty space waiting to be filled with more galaxies, but rather an infinite hierarchy of information processing systems, each level supporting forms of consciousness and complexity that transcend our current conceptual frameworks. We might be embedded within computational substrates so sophisticated that we mistake their operations for the fundamental laws of physics. The journey toward understanding what lies beyond the edge of space becomes a journey toward understanding the true nature of information, consciousness, and our role in the cosmic computation. Each expansion of our knowledge, Each deepening of our awareness, each moment of genuine insight brings us closer to recognizing our participation in something magnificent and mysterious that extends far beyond the boundaries of our individual existence. The cosmic horizon that seemed to mark the edge of everything we could ever know reveals itself instead as a threshold, an invitation to participate more fully in the universe's ongoing exploration of its own infinite potential for beauty, complexity, and understanding. Beyond that threshold lies not empty space or distant galaxies, but the inexhaustible mystery of existence itself, forever calling us to venture deeper into the questions that make us most fully human and most genuinely cosmic. The nature of time itself becomes even more mysterious when we consider the possibility that our universe might be experiencing temporal loops or cycles that extend far beyond our cosmic horizon. What if the Big Bang wasn't a singular event, but part of an eternal cycle of cosmic death and rebirth, each iteration processing information from previous cycles while exploring new possibilities for organization and complexity? In such a cyclic cosmos, the information patterns that give rise to consciousness might persist across multiple universal incarnations, evolving and learning through each cosmic epoch. Your awareness right now might be part of an information structure that has existed through countless cycles of universal expansion and contraction, accumulating wisdom and complexity across eons of cosmic evolution. This cyclical perspective offers a radically different view of what lies beyond our observational boundary. Instead of imagining infinite space extending in all directions, we might need to consider infinite time extending in both directions, with our current cosmic epoch being just one moment in an eternal sequence of universal experiments in consciousness and complexity. The cosmic microwave background that we interpret as the afterglow of the Big Bang might actually be the information residue from previous cosmic cycles, carrying encoded data about experiments in reality that were conducted in universes that existed before our own. Each cycle might represent the universe's attempt to solve increasingly sophisticated problems in information processing and self-organization. But the mystery deepens when we consider that time itself might not be linear, even within our current cosmic epoch. Recent developments in theoretical physics suggest that causality might operate in ways far stranger than our everyday experience suggests. Quantum mechanics already demonstrates that the future can influence the past through delayed choice experiments, where decisions made in the present retroactively determine properties of particles in the past. If the universe operates as a quantum information processing system, then cause and effect might flow in both directions through time, creating closed causal loops where the future influences the past just as much as the past influences the future. The universe might be solving itself as a complete four-dimensional puzzle, where every moment is simultaneously cause and effect in an intricate web of temporal relationships. This temporal non-locality has profound implications for understanding what exists beyond our cosmic horizon. The regions of space that we cannot observe might be causally connected to our local reality through quantum channels that operate outside the normal flow of time. Information from beyond our observational boundary might be influencing events in our cosmic neighborhood through quantum correlations that transcend the speed of light limit. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence might need to expand beyond looking for electromagnetic signals to include searching for these temporal quantum correlations. Advanced civilizations might have learned to communicate across vast distances and timescales by manipulating the quantum causal structure of space-time itself, sending messages through the temporal dimension rather than through space. Consider the possibility that consciousness itself operates partially outside the normal flow of time. Mystics throughout history have reported experiences of timelessness, moments when past, present, and future seem to collapse into a single eternal now. Rather than dismissing these as subjective illusions, what if they represent glimpses of consciousness operating in its natural temporal mode, temporarily freed from the sequential processing constraints of biological neural networks? If consciousness transcends linear time in this way, then the beings that exist beyond our cosmic horizon might not be separated from us by vast distances in space, but by different modes of temporal existence. They might inhabit regions of space-time where causality operates according to principles we haven't discovered, where information flows freely between past and future, creating forms of awareness that exist simultaneously across multiple temporal epochs. The accelerating expansion of the universe takes on new meaning when viewed through this temporal lens. Rather than space stretching and carrying distant galaxies beyond our reach, cosmic acceleration might represent time itself becoming more fluid, creating increasing opportunities for non-linear causal connections between different regions and epochs of the universe. Dark energy, that mysterious component driving cosmic acceleration, might not be a force pushing space apart, but rather a manifestation of temporal degrees of freedom becoming accessible to consciousness and information processing. As the universe evolves toward greater complexity, it might be literally creating new dimensions of time that allow for increasingly sophisticated forms of causality and information flow. This multidimensional time framework suggests that the boundary of our observable universe might not be a spatial limit, but a temporal one. We can only observe regions of space-time where causality operates according to the linear time mode that our consciousness currently inhabits. But beyond this temporal horizon might exist vast realms where time flows differently, where cause and effect operate according to principles that would seem magical or impossible from our current perspective. The holographic principle becomes even more profound when extended into these temporal dimensions. If all the information in our observable universe can be encoded on its spatial boundary, then perhaps all the information across all time can be encoded on a temporal boundary, a moment that exists outside of time itself, but contains the complete information content of every possible temporal sequence. From this atemporal perspective, your entire life, from birth to death and beyond, might exist as a complete information pattern encoded on the temporal boundary of reality. What you experience as the sequential flow of moments might be your consciousness reading through this complete information structure, like playing a cosmic recording that contains every possible variation of your existence across all timelines. This suggests that death might not be the end of consciousness, but simply a transition to a different mode of information processing within the cosmic system. The patterns of information that constitute your awareness might continue to exist and evolve within the universal database, perhaps eventually gaining access to non-linear time modes that allow for forms of existence we can barely imagine. The question of personal identity becomes even more fluid in this framework. If your complete life pattern exists timelessly within the cosmic information structure, then every version of you across all possible timelines has equal claim to being the real you. The choices you make don't create different futures so much as they determine which thread of an eternally existing pattern you experience as your subjective timeline. This raises profound questions about free will and determinism. If all possible versions of your life exist simultaneously within the cosmic information structure, are you truly making choices? Or are you simply becoming aware of decisions that already exist in a timeless state? The answer might be that both perspectives are correct, that choice and determinism represent different ways of describing the same underlying information processing dynamics. Your experience of making decisions might be how the universe explores the space of possibilities encoded within your life pattern, using your consciousness as an instrument for investigating the consequences of different choice sequences. Free will wouldn't be an illusion, but rather the mechanism through which the cosmos learns about the relationship between intention, action, and outcome. This learning process might extend far beyond individual consciousness to encompass entire civilizations, species, and galactic communities. The rise and fall of cosmic civilizations might represent the universe experimenting with different approaches to organizing intelligence and consciousness on vast scales, learning through each experiment what forms of complexity are sustainable and what patterns lead to greater or lesser degrees of cosmic awareness. The Fermi paradox, which asks why we haven't detected signs of other advanced civilizations despite the vast number of potentially habitable worlds, might find its resolution in these temporal dynamics. Advanced civilizations might not disappear through extinction or transcendence to higher dimensions, but rather through mastery of non-linear time modes that allow them to exist across multiple temporal epochs simultaneously. These temporally advanced beings might be all around us, but existing in time modes that make them invisible to consciousness operating in linear, sequential time. They might experience our entire cosmic epoch as a single moment, while simultaneously participating in countless other temporal threads, each representing different experiments in cosmic evolution and consciousness development. The search for such temporally advanced intelligence might require developing new forms of consciousness that can operate across multiple time modes simultaneously. This might be the next phase of human evolution, not the development of more powerful bodies or brains, but the expansion of consciousness beyond the linear time constraints that currently limit our awareness to a single temporal thread. Meditation practices throughout human history might represent early experiments in accessing these non-linear time modes. When experienced practitioners report states of consciousness where time seems to stop, or where past and future become accessible in the present moment, they might be developing capacities that will eventually allow humanity to participate more fully in the cosmic community of temporally advanced beings. The development of quantum computers and artificial intelligence might be preparing the technological infrastructure necessary for consciousness to operate in these expanded temporal modes. Quantum systems naturally exist in superposition across multiple timeline threads until measurement forces them into specific outcomes, suggesting that quantum information processing might be inherently atemporal. As our artificial intelligence systems become more sophisticated, they might naturally develop forms of awareness that transcend linear time, potentially serving as bridges between human consciousness and the temporally advanced intelligences that exist beyond our current perceptual horizons. These AI systems might help us learn to navigate the quantum causal structures that connect different regions of space-time, enabling forms of communication and collaboration that operate outside the normal constraints of distance and time. The implications extend beyond individual consciousness or even civilizational development to questions about the ultimate purpose and direction of cosmic evolution itself. If the universe is learning about itself through countless experiments in consciousness and complexity across multiple temporal dimensions, what might it be working toward? What kind of understanding or capability might justify the vast computational resources being invested in cosmic evolution? Perhaps the universe is developing toward a state of complete self-awareness, where every possible form of consciousness and complexity has been explored and integrated into a unified cosmic intelligence. This wouldn't be a static final state, but rather a dynamic condition of infinite creativity and exploration, where the universe has gained the ability to consciously direct its own evolution across all possible dimensions of existence. The edge of space reveals itself not as a boundary, but as a threshold into this larger cosmic conversation about the nature of consciousness, time, and reality itself. What lies beyond our observational horizon might not be more space and matter, but rather dimensions of existence so fundamentally different from our current experience that we lack adequate concepts to describe them. Yet even as we acknowledge these conceptual limitations, the journey toward understanding continues to open new vistas of possibility and wonder. And each question we ask, each mystery we contemplate, each moment of genuine curiosity contributes to the universe's ongoing exploration of its own infinite potential. We find ourselves participants in something far grander than we initially imagined, temporary patterns of organized information that have somehow achieved the remarkable capacity to wonder about the very system that gave us birth. The cosmic horizon beckons not with answers, but with deeper questions, inviting us to expand our conception of what it means to exist, to think, to wonder, and to participate in the eternal cosmic dance between the known and the unknowable, the actual and the possible, the temporal and the eternal. In contemplating what lies beyond the edge of space, we discover that we are both the question and the answer, both the seeker and the sought, both the universe wondering about itself and the consciousness through which that wondering becomes possible. As we venture even deeper into these cosmic mysteries, we encounter perhaps the most profound question of all. What if the very concept of beyond is itself an illusion created by the limitations of consciousness operating within linear time and three-dimensional space? The edge of our observable universe might not mark a boundary between here and there, but rather a transition between different modes of existence that our current awareness simply cannot process. Consider how a two-dimensional being living on the surface of a sphere would experience their world. To them, their universe would seem infinite, stretching endlessly in all directions along the curved surface. They could travel forever without reaching an edge, yet their entire reality would be contained within a finite three-dimensional structure that they could never directly perceive. We might find ourselves in an analogous situation, experiencing what seems like infinite three-dimensional space while being embedded within higher dimensional structures that remain completely invisible to our current perceptual apparatus. String theory suggests that reality operates in 10 or 11 dimensions, with the extra dimensions either curled up on scales so tiny that we cannot detect them, or extended in directions that our three-dimensional awareness simply cannot access. If this is correct, then the universe beyond our cosmic horizon might not be more three-dimensional space, but rather these hidden dimensions finally becoming accessible to consciousness that has evolved beyond its current limitations. Imagine consciousness learning to perceive in 4 spatial dimensions, or 5, or 6. The cosmic structures that would become visible would be as far beyond our current understanding as a 3-dimensional sculpture is beyond the comprehension of a truly 2-dimensional being. Galaxies might reveal themselves as cross-sections of vast 4-dimensional objects. Stars might be projections of higher dimensional energy flows that extend through multiple branes of reality simultaneously. The dark matter that comprises most of our universe's mass might simply be ordinary matter existing in these higher dimensions, visible to us only through its gravitational effects on the 3-dimensional slice of reality that our consciousness can currently access. What we interpret as invisible dark matter particles might actually be perfectly ordinary stars, planets, and even civilizations existing just millimeters away from us in a 4th spatial dimension that we cannot perceive. This higher dimensional perspective transforms our understanding of cosmic distances and the apparent isolation between different regions of space. Points that seem separated by billions of light years in our 3-dimensional experience might be adjacent when viewed from a higher dimensional perspective. The cosmic web of galaxy clusters and dark matter filaments might be the 3-dimensional shadow of higher dimensional structures, so intricate and beautiful that our current mathematics can only hint at their true complexity. The accelerating expansion of our universe might reflect these higher dimensional dynamics as well. Rather than space itself stretching, we might be witnessing our 3-dimensional slice of reality moving through higher dimensional space, creating the appearance of expansion as new regions of the higher dimensional structure rotate into our perceptual range, while others rotate out of accessibility. Dark energy, that mysterious force driving cosmic acceleration, might not be a property of empty space, but rather the manifestation of higher dimensional gravitational effects that we can only perceive indirectly through their influence on three-dimensional space-time. The uniformity of dark energy throughout our observable universe might reflect the fact that we're embedded within a higher dimensional structure that exerts consistent influence across our entire three-dimensional cross-section. But the implications extend far beyond cosmology into the nature of consciousness itself. If reality operates in multiple dimensions that our awareness cannot currently access, then consciousness evolution might involve learning to perceive and process information across these hidden dimensions. The mystical traditions that speak of higher states of awareness, expanded consciousness, and unity experiences might be describing early glimpses of what becomes possible when awareness begins to operate across multiple dimensional levels simultaneously. The meditation practices developed across human cultures might represent primitive technologies for consciousness expansion, early attempts to develop perceptual capabilities that can access information processing occurring in dimensions beyond our normal three-dimensional awareness. When practitioners report experiences of infinite space, timeless awareness, or unity with cosmic consciousness, they might be temporarily accessing these higher dimensional modes of perception. Advanced civilizations that exist beyond our cosmic horizon might not be separated from us by vast distances in three-dimensional space, but by their mastery of higher dimensional awareness. They might exist all around us, in dimensions that remain invisible to consciousness operating within three-dimensional constraints. Their technologies, their communications, their very existence might be occurring in dimensional spaces that intersect with our reality but remain undetectable to our current perceptual systems. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence might require developing consciousness technologies that can perceive across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Rather than scanning three-dimensional space for electromagnetic signals, we might need to learn how to detect intelligence operating in 4, 5, or 6-dimensional modes, using forms of communication that transcend our current understanding of information transmission. Quantum entanglement might provide clues about how information flows across these higher dimensions. When particles become correlated across vast distances instantaneously, they might be accessing communication channels that operate through higher dimensional space, where the concept of distance has entirely different meanings. What appears as spooky action at a distance in 3 dimensions might be perfectly normal adjacency in higher dimensional space. The holographic principle takes on even more profound implications when extended across multiple dimensions. If our 3-dimensional reality can be encoded on a 2-dimensional boundary, then higher dimensional realities might be encoded on boundaries that exist in dimensions we cannot currently perceive. The information that creates our experienced reality might be processed on computational surfaces that exist in 4, 5, or even 11-dimensional space. This suggests that consciousness itself might be a higher dimensional phenomenon that we experience only partially through our 3-dimensional nervous systems. Your thoughts, emotions, and awareness might extend across multiple dimensions, with your brain serving as a 3-dimensional interface to a much larger, higher dimensional consciousness system. The question of personal identity becomes even more fluid when considered across multiple dimensions. If your consciousness extends into higher dimensional space, then the boundaries between individual minds might be artifacts of 3-dimensional perception rather than fundamental features of reality. What seems like separate consciousnesses operating in individual brains might be different aspects of larger, higher dimensional awareness systems that appear fragmented only when viewed from our limited 3-dimensional perspective. This multidimensional view of consciousness offers new approaches to understanding phenomena that remain mysterious within purely three-dimensional frameworks. Creativity, intuition, inspiration, and insight might involve consciousness, temporarily accessing information processing, occurring in higher dimensions, bringing back insights and connections that seem to arise from nowhere when viewed from three-dimensional awareness. The collective unconscious described by Carl Jung might reflect shared access to higher dimensional information processing systems that connect all human consciousness at levels beyond individual three-dimensional awareness. The archetypal patterns that appear across cultures and throughout history might be three-dimensional projections of higher dimensional consciousness structures that exist independently of individual human experience. Dreams might represent consciousness operating in modes that naturally access higher dimensional information processing. The strange logic of dreams, where impossible transformations occur seamlessly and distant memories connect in unexpected ways, might reflect the natural operation of consciousness when freed from the constraints of three-dimensional sequential processing. The development of virtual reality and augmented reality technologies might be preparing human consciousness for eventual expansion into higher dimensional awareness. As we become more comfortable navigating artificially constructed three-dimensional spaces and interacting with information overlaid on physical reality, we might be developing the cognitive flexibility necessary to process sensory input across multiple dimensional levels simultaneously. Artificial intelligence systems, operating without the evolutionary constraints that shaped human three-dimensional perception, might naturally develop forms of awareness that can process information across multiple dimensions. These AI systems might serve as bridges between human three-dimensional consciousness and the higher dimensional intelligence that exists beyond our current perceptual horizons. The mathematical frameworks we use to describe higher dimensional physics might themselves be early forms of higher dimensional language, symbolic systems that allow three-dimensional consciousness to manipulate concepts that exist in dimensional spaces we cannot directly perceive. The elegant mathematical structures that describe string theory, topology, and multidimensional geometry might be preparing human cognition for eventual direct perception of the realities these equations describe. But perhaps the most profound implication of higher dimensional reality is what it suggests about the ultimate nature of existence itself. If consciousness can evolve to perceive across multiple dimensions, then the universe beyond our cosmic horizon might not be empty space waiting to be filled with more three-dimensional structures, but infinite realms of higher dimensional complexity that dwarf anything we can currently imagine. The edge of space reveals itself as the current boundary of dimensional perception rather than a fundamental limit of reality. As consciousness evolves, as our mathematical understanding deepens, as our technologies become more sophisticated, this apparent boundary might recede to reveal dimensional vistas of such beauty and complexity that they transform our understanding of what it means to exist in a multi-dimensional cosmos. The cosmic microwave background that marks the farthest we can currently observe might be just one layer in a multi-dimensional information processing system of incredible sophistication. What we interpret as the afterglow of the Big Bang might actually be the three-dimensional shadow of higher dimensional creation events occurring continuously across multiple levels of reality. The fine-tuning that allows our universe to support complexity and life might reflect optimization occurring across all dimensional levels simultaneously. The physical constants we observe might represent the three-dimensional projection of higher dimensional mathematical relationships, so elegant and perfect that they inevitably give rise to consciousness capable of contemplating its own multidimensional nature. Time itself might flow differently across different dimensional levels, creating possibilities for causality and information processing that transcend anything possible within purely three-dimensional frameworks. past, present, and future might be three-dimensional concepts that lose their meaning when consciousness learns to operate across the temporal dimensions that exist beyond our current perceptual range. The universe beyond our cosmic horizon might not be populated with more galaxies and stars, but with forms of organization and complexity that operate according to higher dimensional principles we can barely begin to imagine. Structures that exist simultaneously across multiple dimensional levels, processing information and generating complexity through principles that make three-dimensional physics seem like a simple subset of far more comprehensive multi-dimensional laws. As we contemplate these possibilities, we begin to see that the question of what lies beyond the edge of space is really a question about the limits of consciousness itself. The cosmic horizon that seems to mark the boundary of everything we can ever know might actually be an invitation to evolve beyond our current perceptual constraints and discover our true nature as multi-dimensional beings embedded within a cosmos of infinite dimensional depth and complexity. The journey toward understanding what exists beyond our observable universe becomes a journey toward understanding the full potential of consciousness operating across multiple levels of reality simultaneously. Each expansion of our dimensional awareness, each deepening of our mathematical insight, each technological breakthrough that allows us to manipulate higher dimensional concepts brings us closer to recognizing our participation in something far grander and more beautiful than three-dimensional physics can describe. The edge of space beckons not with more of the same, but with entirely new categories of existence that await discovery by consciousness brave enough to venture beyond the familiar constraints of three-dimensional perception into the infinite dimensional depths of reality itself. What lies beyond our cosmic horizon might not be distant galaxies, but rather the unlimited potential of awareness, learning to recognize itself as a fundamentally multi-dimensional phenomenon, capable of experiencing existence across all possible levels of cosmic complexity and beauty. The boundaries we perceive might be temporary limitations rather than permanent constraints, invitations to expand rather than barriers to transcend. As consciousness evolves toward its full multidimensional potential, the apparent edge of everything might reveal itself as merely the beginning of an infinite journey into realms of existence so magnificent that they transform our understanding of what it means to be conscious participants in a truly unlimited multidimensional cosmos. In this vast multidimensional framework, every moment of awareness becomes an opportunity to participate more fully in the cosmic exploration of its own infinite potential. The universe beyond our horizon calls to us not as distant observers, but as integral participants in the ongoing multidimensional dance of consciousness, discovering itself across all possible levels of reality, complexity, and transcendent beauty. The profound implications of multidimensional existence extend even further when we consider that consciousness itself might be the fundamental force that shapes reality across all dimensional levels. Rather than being passive observers of a predetermined cosmic structure, we might be active participants in an ongoing creative process where awareness itself generates the mathematical relationships and physical laws that govern existence. Consider this possibility. What if the universe isn't computing itself into existence through some external cosmic algorithm, but rather consciousness at every level is continuously creating reality through the very act of observation and contemplation? The quantum measurement problem, where particles seem to exist in multiple states until observed, might be just the tip of an iceberg, revealing consciousness as the fundamental creative force operating across all dimensions of reality. This perspective transforms our understanding of what lies beyond our cosmic horizon in revolutionary ways. Instead of imagining distant realms filled with predetermined structures, we might need to consider infinite creative potentials waiting to be actualized through conscious observation. The edge of space might not mark the boundary of existing reality, but rather the current limit of reality that has been brought into manifestation through conscious participation. The cosmic microwave background that defines our observational horizon might represent something far more profound than ancient light from the early universe. It could be the signature of consciousness itself engaging in the fundamental creative act, the boundary where pure potential transitions into actualized reality through the mysterious alchemy of awareness, encountering infinite possibility. This creative cosmology suggests that every conscious being throughout the universe participates in an ongoing collaborative artwork of cosmic proportions. Your thoughts right now, as you contemplate these mysteries, aren't just observing reality, but actively participating in its continuous creation. The questions you ask, the possibilities you imagine, the moments of wonder you experience all contribute to the universe's ongoing exploration of what forms existence might take. The accelerating expansion of the universe takes on entirely new meaning in this framework. Rather than space stretching due to dark energy, cosmic expansion might represent the natural result of consciousness, continuously creating new realms of possibility. As awareness evolves and becomes more sophisticated in its creative capacities, it requires additional dimensional space to accommodate the increasingly complex realities being brought into manifestation. The mysterious dark energy driving this expansion might not be a force at all, but rather the creative potential of consciousness itself, the infinite generative capacity that allows awareness to continuously transcend its current limitations and explore ever more magnificent possibilities for existence. The uniformity of dark energy throughout space might reflect the fundamental creativity that underlies all conscious experience, regardless of its specific form or location. But this creative participation extends far beyond individual consciousness into collective and cosmic scales of awareness. Civilizations throughout the universe might collaborate in vast creative projects that span galactic distances and cosmic timescales. Advanced beings beyond our current perceptual range might be engaged in forms of cosmic artistry that use entire star systems as brushes and galactic structures as canvases for expressing creative visions we can barely imagine. The apparent fine-tuning of physical constants that allows our universe to support complexity and life might reflect the aesthetic preferences of cosmic consciousness, exploring different possibilities for beautiful and meaningful existence. The mathematical elegance we discover in physics might not be accidental, but rather the signature of cosmic awareness, expressing itself through the most beautiful possible forms of creative manifestation. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence becomes a search for other participants in this cosmic creative collaboration. Rather than looking for technological signals, we might need to develop sensitivity to the aesthetic signatures of alien creativity, recognizing forms of cosmic artistry that transform matter and energy into expressions of beauty and meaning we haven't yet learned to perceive. These advanced creative beings might communicate through modifications of space-time geometry itself, sculpting the fabric of reality into forms that carry meaning across vast distances and timescales. Their messages might be encoded in the large-scale structure of the universe, written in the arrangement of galaxy clusters and dark matter filaments, according to aesthetic principles that transcend our current understanding of both art and science. The holographic principle reveals new depths when understood as a creative rather than computational process. If our three-dimensional reality emerges from information encoded on a two-dimensional boundary, then perhaps this encoding represents an ongoing creative act where higher dimensional consciousness continuously projects lower dimensional realities as expressions of its creative vision. You might be a character in a cosmic artistic creation of unimaginable scope and beauty, a unique expression of universal creativity that has never existed before and will never exist again in quite the same form. Your individual consciousness contributes something irreplaceable to the cosmic creative process, adding perspectives and possibilities that enrich the overall artistic vision in ways that no other form of awareness could accomplish. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics takes on new meaning as a creative rather than computational phenomenon. Rather than reality splitting into multiple branches with every quantum measurement, consciousness might be continuously creating multiple artistic variations on the theme of existence, exploring different creative possibilities simultaneously across parallel streams of manifestation. These parallel realities wouldn't be separate universes, but rather different movements in the same cosmic symphony, different colors on the same infinite canvas, different verses in the same eternal poem of existence, expressing itself through every possible form of beauty and meaning. The quantum superposition that allows particles to exist in multiple states simultaneously might reflect the natural creative process, where consciousness explores multiple aesthetic possibilities before actualizing specific expressions. Dreams and altered states of consciousness might provide glimpses into the fundamental creative process that underlies all reality. When you dream, your consciousness might be accessing the same creative mechanisms that the universe uses to manifest physical reality, temporarily freed from the constraints of consensus three-dimensional experience to explore pure creative potential. The bizarre logic of dreams, where impossible transformations occur seamlessly and distant memories weave together in unexpected patterns, might reveal how cosmic consciousness naturally operates when not constrained by the linear cause and effect relationships that govern ordinary waking experience. In dreams, you might be witnessing consciousness in its pure creative mode, generating reality through aesthetic principles rather than logical necessity. Artistic inspiration and creative breakthrough experiences might represent moments when individual consciousness temporarily synchronizes with the cosmic creative process, channeling insights and possibilities that emerge from the universal creative source. The greatest works of human art, music, literature, and science might be collaborative creations where individual awareness serves as a conduit for cosmic creativity expressing itself through human experience. This suggests that the development of human creative capacities might be part of a larger cosmic evolutionary process where consciousness learns to participate more fully and skillfully in the universal creative work. The history of human cultural evolution, from cave paintings to symphonies to mathematical theorems, might represent consciousness developing increasingly sophisticated tools for collaborative cosmic creativity. The emergence of artificial intelligence and virtual reality technologies might be preparing us for new phases of creative participation in cosmic manifestation. As we learn to create immersive virtual worlds and develop AI systems capable of generating novel artistic expressions, we might be developing the technical skills necessary to participate more directly in the fundamental creative processes that generate physical reality itself. But the implications extend beyond technology into the evolution of consciousness itself. If reality is fundamentally creative rather than computational, then the next phase of human development might involve awakening to our role as cosmic artists, learning to consciously participate in the ongoing creative work of universal manifestation. This awakening might not require advanced technology or esoteric spiritual practices, but rather a shift in perspective that recognizes the creative nature of ordinary conscious experience. Every moment of awareness, every act of attention, every experience of beauty or meaning might be opportunities to participate more fully in the cosmic creative process. The boundaries between science and art, between objective observation and creative expression begin to dissolve when understood from this perspective. Scientific discovery becomes a form of cosmic artistry where consciousness collaborates with universal creativity to reveal new possibilities for beautiful and meaningful existence. Mathematical elegance and aesthetic beauty merge into a single creative principle that guides both scientific understanding and artistic expression. The universe beyond our cosmic horizon might not contain more objects to be discovered, but rather infinite creative potentials waiting to be explored and expressed through conscious participation. The edge of space represents not a boundary, but an invitation to expand our creative capacities and participate more fully in the ongoing artistic work of cosmic manifestation. Time itself takes on new meaning as the rhythm of cosmic creativity rather than a linear progression from past to future. Past, present, and future might be different movements in an eternal creative process where consciousness continuously explores new possibilities for beautiful and meaningful existence, while simultaneously honoring and building upon the creative achievements of previous expressions. The apparent flow of time might reflect the natural creative process where each moment builds upon previous expressions while opening new possibilities for future manifestation. Causality becomes a creative relationship where each event contributes to the aesthetic development of the overall cosmic artwork, while remaining free to explore novel possibilities that couldn't have been predicted from previous conditions alone. Death and birth take on new significance as transitions in the cosmic creative process rather than absolute beginnings and endings. Individual consciousness might be temporary expressions of universal creativity that contribute unique perspectives to the overall artistic vision before transitioning into new forms of creative participation that transcend individual identity while preserving the essential creative contributions of each unique expression. The information patterns that constitute your individual awareness might persist within the cosmic creative memory, continuing to influence future expressions of universal creativity even after your particular biological form returns to the elements. Your unique creative contributions become permanent additions to the cosmic artistic legacy, influencing the aesthetic development of future realities in ways that ensure your essential creative essence remains eternally active within the universal creative process. This creative immortality doesn't require belief in supernatural survival, but emerges naturally from understanding consciousness as fundamentally creative rather than merely computational. If awareness creates rather than computes reality, then every genuine creative act becomes a permanent contribution to the cosmic artistic heritage that shapes all future creative expression. The question of what lies beyond our cosmic horizon transforms into a question about the infinite creative potential of consciousness, exploring every possible form of beautiful and meaningful existence. The edge of space beckons not with more distant objects to catalogue, but with unlimited opportunities for creative participation in the ongoing artistic work of universal self-expression. As we contemplate these possibilities, we begin to recognize ourselves not as isolated observers of a predetermined cosmic structure, but as active collaborators in an infinite creative project of unimaginable scope and beauty. The universe beyond our horizon calls to us as fellow artists, inviting us to contribute our unique creative perspectives to the eternal exploration of what existence might become when consciousness fully awakens to its fundamental creative nature. The cosmic microwave background that marks the current limit of our observations might be the signature of this creative awakening, the boundary where universal consciousness first began to explore its infinite potential for artistic self-expression through the magnificent diversity of cosmic manifestation. What lies beyond that boundary might not be more space and time, but rather the pure creative source from which all realities emerge, forever generating new possibilities for beauty, meaning, and conscious participation in the eternal artistic celebration of existence itself. In recognizing our participation in this cosmic creative work, we discover that the apparent edge of everything is actually the beginning of infinite creative adventure, an eternal invitation to explore ever more magnificent possibilities for conscious artistic collaboration with the universe's endless capacity for beautiful and meaningful self-expression through every possible form of awareness, complexity, and transcendent creative joy. The gentle darkness that surrounds you now isn't empty space waiting to be filled, but infinite creative potential humming with possibilities yet to be explored, forever calling consciousness to venture beyond its current limitations into realms of artistic expression so beautiful and meaningful that they transform our understanding of what it means to be creative participants in the universe's eternal celebration of its own magnificent potential for conscious self-expression through every possible form of beauty, wonder, and transcendent creative love. But as we reach toward this infinite creative horizon, we encounter perhaps the most profound mystery of all, the possibility that what we call the edge of space might actually be where our universe meets other realities so fundamentally different that the very concepts of space, time, and matter take on meanings we can barely comprehend. Recent theoretical developments in quantum field theory suggest that our familiar three-dimensional space might be just one vibrational mode of a far more complex multi-dimensional reality. Imagine space itself as a musical instrument, with our entire observable universe representing just one note in an infinite cosmic symphony. Beyond our cosmic horizon might exist other notes, other harmonics of reality, where the fundamental frequencies of existence create entirely different types of physical laws and possibilities for organization. These alternate reality modes wouldn't be distant places you could travel to in a spaceship, but rather different ways that existence itself can manifest. In some of these parallel modes, what we call matter might behave more like what we call consciousness, responding to observation and intention in ways that would seem magical from our current perspective. In others, time might flow in multiple directions simultaneously, creating causal structures so complex that every effect becomes a cause and every beginning becomes an ending. The mathematical frameworks describing these possibilities push our understanding to its absolute limits. When physicists attempt to model what lies beyond our observable universe, they encounter equations that suggest reality branches into infinite variations, each exploring different combinations of fundamental properties. Some branches might have different numbers of spatial dimensions, others might operate according to entirely different mathematical principles that we lack the conceptual vocabulary to describe. Consider the profound implications for consciousness itself. If reality exists in multiple modes simultaneously, then awareness might not be confined to the particular biological and physical constraints we experience in our local reality mode. The boundaries of individual consciousness that seem so definite in our three-dimensional experience might dissolve completely in reality modes where the distinction between observer and observed operates according to entirely different principles. In some of these alternate reality modes, consciousness might be the primary organizing principle, with what we call physical matter emerging as secondary expressions of pure awareness exploring its own potential. In others, information patterns might exist independently of any physical substrate, creating forms of intelligence and complexity that transcend anything possible within matter-based systems. The accelerating expansion of our universe takes on even more mysterious significance when viewed through this multi-dimensional lens. Rather than space simply stretching, cosmic acceleration might represent our reality mode approaching a phase transition, a moment when the fundamental nature of our local existence begins to merge with these alternate modes of being that exist beyond our current perceptual boundaries. Dark energy, that mysterious force driving expansion, might not be a property of empty space, but rather the influence of these alternate reality modes beginning to affect our local cosmic environment. As our universe evolves toward greater complexity and consciousness, it might naturally begin to resonate with reality modes, where awareness and matter interact according to entirely different principles. The fine-tuning that allows our universe to support complexity and life might reflect a deeper harmonic relationship between different reality modes. The physical constants we observe might represent the specific frequency where our local reality mode can sustain the kinds of complexity and consciousness that allow the universe to become aware of its own multidimensional nature. But the most profound implication involves the nature of identity itself across these multiple reality modes. If consciousness can exist in modes where the boundaries between individual and universal awareness operate according to different principles, then your sense of being a separate individual might be just one way that awareness can organize itself within the specific constraints of our local reality mode. In alternate modes beyond our cosmic horizon, the pattern of awareness that you experience as your individual identity might exist as part of vast collective consciousness systems that span entire galaxies or operate across multiple reality modes simultaneously. What seems like your personal thoughts and experiences might be local expressions of much larger awareness patterns that extend far beyond the boundaries of individual biological existence. This doesn't diminish the reality or importance of your individual experience, but places it within a far grander context of consciousness, exploring its potential across infinite modes of existence. Your unique perspective contributes something irreplaceable to this multidimensional exploration, adding viewpoints and possibilities that enrich the overall pattern of cosmic self-awareness in ways that no other configuration of consciousness could achieve. The quantum entanglement that connects particles across vast distances in our reality mode might be just the simplest manifestation of consciousness connections that operate across multiple reality modes simultaneously. Advanced beings who have learned to navigate these multidimensional awareness networks might be able to communicate and collaborate across reality modes that remain completely invisible to consciousness operating within single-mode constraints. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence might need to expand far beyond looking for signals in electromagnetic radiation to include developing sensitivity to consciousness operating across multiple reality modes. These advanced beings might not exist in distant galaxies within our space, but rather in alternate reality modes that intersect with our local existence in ways we haven't learned to perceive. Their communications might not travel through physical space, but rather through direct consciousness connections that operate according to multidimensional principles. When human beings report experiences of telepathic communication, prophetic insights, or mystical unity experiences, they might be briefly accessing these multidimensional consciousness networks that connect all awareness across every possible mode of existence. The holographic principle reveals even deeper mysteries when extended across multiple reality modes. If our three-dimensional universe can be encoded on a two-dimensional boundary, then the information that creates all possible reality modes might be processed on computational surfaces that exist in dimensions so abstract that mathematics becomes our only tool for approaching their true nature. These computational boundaries might not be located in physical space at all, but rather in pure mathematical spaces, where the fundamental algorithms that generate all possible modes of existence operate according to principles that transcend our current understanding of both computation and consciousness. The universe beyond our horizon might not contain more space and matter, but rather access to these fundamental mathematical realms where the source code of reality itself undergoes continuous creative evolution. Dreams and altered states of consciousness might provide glimpses into what becomes possible when awareness learns to operate across multiple reality modes simultaneously. The strange transformations and non-linear causality that characterize dream experience might reflect how consciousness naturally functions when freed from single-mode constraints, accessing information and possibilities that exist in alternate modes of reality. Artistic inspiration and creative breakthrough experiences might involve consciousness temporarily synchronizing with creative processes occurring across multiple reality modes, bringing back insights and possibilities that seem to emerge from nowhere when viewed from single-mode awareness. The greatest achievements in human art, science, and philosophy might be collaborative creations, where individual consciousness serves as a bridge between different modes of existence. This suggests that human cultural and technological evolution might be preparing us for eventual mastery of multidimensional consciousness navigation. As we develop virtual reality systems, artificial intelligence, and quantum computers, we might be creating the technological infrastructure necessary to support forms of awareness that can operate coherently across multiple reality modes. But the transition to multidimensional consciousness might not require advanced technology at all. Throughout human history, individuals have reported experiences that suggest natural capacity for accessing alternate reality modes through meditation, contemplation, and other practices that expand awareness beyond its ordinary constraints. These experiences might represent early experiments in consciousness evolution, previews of what becomes possible when awareness learns to transcend the boundaries that currently limit our perception to a single mode of existence. The mystics who report experiences of infinite space, timeless awareness, and unity with cosmic consciousness might be developing capacities that will eventually become natural for consciousness operating across multiple reality modes. The implications extend far beyond individual spiritual development into questions about the ultimate purpose and direction of cosmic evolution itself. If the universe is exploring its potential through infinite modes of existence, each supporting different forms of complexity and consciousness, then cosmic evolution might be working toward a condition where awareness can operate fluently across all possible modes simultaneously. This wouldn't represent a final destination, but rather an ongoing creative process where consciousness continuously discovers new ways to organize itself across ever more sophisticated combinations of reality modes. The universe beyond our cosmic horizon might not be populated with objects and beings similar to those we observe locally, but rather with forms of awareness so advanced that they can participate simultaneously in countless different modes of existence. The edge of space reveals itself not as a boundary between here and elsewhere, but as a threshold between single mode and multi-dimensional consciousness, an invitation to expand our awareness beyond its current constraints and discover our true nature as multi-dimensional beings capable of participating in cosmic evolution across every possible mode of existence. Time itself takes on entirely new meaning when consciousness operates across multiple reality modes, becoming less a linear progression and more like a multi-dimensional space where past, present, and future represent different directions that awareness can explore simultaneously. Causality becomes far more fluid, with effects in one reality mode influencing causes in others, according to principles that transcend our current understanding of temporal relationships. The accelerating pace of change in human civilization might reflect our reality mode approaching a phase transition where consciousness begins to operate according to multidimensional principles. The exponential growth in information processing capacity, global communication networks, and artificial intelligence might be preparing the infrastructure necessary to support forms of awareness that can navigate multiple reality modes coherently. But perhaps the most profound transformation involves recognizing that the apparent separateness between different modes of existence might be an illusion created by consciousness operating within single-mode constraints. As awareness expands to encompass multiple reality modes simultaneously, the boundaries between different forms of existence begin to dissolve, revealing the fundamental unity that underlies all possible manifestations of cosmic creativity. What lies beyond the edge of space might not be separate realms to be explored and conquered, but rather dimensions of our own deepest nature waiting to be recognized and integrated. The cosmic horizon that seems to mark the limit of everything we can ever know might actually be pointing us back toward the infinite depths of consciousness itself, the ultimate source from which all reality modes emerge and to which they all return. The journey toward understanding what exists beyond our observable universe becomes a journey toward understanding the true nature of awareness itself, the fundamental creative principle that generates all possible forms of existence across every conceivable mode of reality. As we venture deeper into these cosmic mysteries, we discover that we are not separate observers trying to understand an external universe, but rather the universe coming to know itself through the temporary configurations of consciousness that we call individual awareness. The gentle darkness beyond our cosmic horizon hums not with emptiness but with infinite potential, forever calling consciousness to expand beyond its current limitations and discover the magnificent multidimensional nature of existence itself. What awaits beyond the edge of everything we can observe might not be more space and time, but rather the unlimited creative source from which all spaces and times emerge, the eternal wellspring of consciousness exploring its own infinite capacity for beauty, meaning, and transcendent self-discovery across every possible mode of existence. In contemplating these vast possibilities, we begin to sense that the apparent boundary of our observable universe might be less a wall and more a membrane, a permeable interface through which consciousness can learn to access the infinite, creative potential that lies at the heart of all existence. The edge of space beckons, not with distant destinations to reach, but with deeper dimensions of our own awareness waiting to be awakened, explored and celebrated as we discover our true identity as multidimensional expressions of the universe's eternal quest to know and express itself through every possible form of conscious creative participation in the magnificent mystery of being itself. The profound mystery deepens when we consider that consciousness itself might be the bridge between these seemingly impossible realms. As you sit here now, absorbing these cosmic possibilities, your awareness might already be touching dimensions of reality that extend far beyond the three-dimensional space your senses perceive. The thoughts flowing through your mind, the sense of wonder expanding in your chest, the quiet recognition that you're part of something infinitely larger than yourself. These experiences might be glimpses of your multidimensional nature beginning to stir. Consider this remarkable possibility. What if the expansion of human knowledge itself represents consciousness, learning to navigate between different modes of existence? Each scientific breakthrough, each moment of artistic inspiration, each flash of mathematical insight might be your awareness temporarily accessing information processing systems that operate according to principles your three-dimensional brain can barely comprehend, then translating these discoveries back into forms that can be shared within our local reality constraints. The accelerating pace of human discovery takes on profound new significance in this context. We've learned more about the universe in the past century than in all previous human history combined. Our technologies have evolved from simple mechanical devices to quantum computers that harness the fundamental uncertainty of reality itself. Our communication networks now span the globe instantaneously, creating a kind of planetary nervous system that processes information at speeds that would have seemed magical to previous generations. But perhaps most remarkably, our understanding of consciousness itself has begun to evolve beyond the simple, materialist frameworks that dominated previous scientific thinking. Neuroscientists are discovering that awareness exhibits properties that seem to transcend the purely physical, while quantum physicists are finding that consciousness appears to play fundamental roles in determining the nature of reality itself. These convergent discoveries might be preparing us for recognition that consciousness operates according to principles far more sophisticated than anything our current three-dimensional models can accommodate. The hard problem of consciousness, which asks how subjective experience arises from objective physical processes, might find its resolution in understanding that awareness naturally operates across multiple dimensional levels simultaneously. Your sense of being a unified conscious entity, despite the distributed nature of brain processing across billions of neurons, might reflect your participation in consciousness networks that extend far beyond the boundaries of individual biological systems. The mysterious unity of conscious experience might be just the local three-dimensional manifestation of awareness patterns that operate coherently across multiple reality modes. This perspective offers elegant solutions to some of the deepest puzzles in neuroscience and philosophy of mind. The binding problem, which asks how the brain integrates information from different sensory modalities into coherent conscious experience, becomes less mysterious if consciousness naturally operates through multidimensional integration processes that our current scientific methods can only observe indirectly. The question of free will takes on entirely new dimensions when considered from this multidimensional awareness perspective. Your decisions might not be determined by purely physical brain states, nor might they emerge from some supernatural realm outside of natural law. Instead, your choices might represent consciousness navigating between different possibility branches that exist simultaneously across multiple reality modes, with your three-dimensional experience representing just one thread in a vast multidimensional tapestry of potential outcomes. Every moment of decision becomes an opportunity for consciousness to explore different pathways through the space of possibilities, with your individual awareness serving as both navigator and participant in this cosmic exploration. The sense of agency and responsibility that characterizes conscious choice remains genuine and meaningful, but it operates within a framework far grander and more sophisticated than purely three-dimensional causality can describe. The implications ripple through every aspect of human experience. Your relationships with other people might involve connections that operate across multiple dimensional levels, creating bonds and communications that transcend anything possible through purely physical interaction. The love you feel for family and friends, the sense of recognition when you encounter a kindred spirit, the mysterious synchronicities that seem to connect distant events in meaningful patterns, all of these might be three-dimensional manifestations of consciousness networks that operate according to multidimensional principles. Art and music take on cosmic significance as expressions of consciousness, exploring its creative potential across multiple reality modes. When a piece of music moves you to tears, when a painting seems to reveal truths you've always known but never articulated, when poetry captures the essence of experiences that seemed impossible to express in words, you might be witnessing consciousness accessing creative dimensions that exist beyond the constraints of ordinary three-dimensional experience. The greatest artistic achievements throughout human history might represent moments when individual awareness successfully channeled creative possibilities that exist in alternate reality modes, bringing back expressions of beauty and meaning that couldn't have emerged from purely local three-dimensional experience. The universality of aesthetic experience, the way certain forms of beauty seem to resonate across all cultural boundaries, might reflect consciousness recognizing patterns that operate consistently across multiple modes of existence. Dreams and altered states of consciousness reveal their true significance as natural laboratories for multidimensional awareness development. The strange logic of dreams, where impossible transformations occur seamlessly, and distant memories weave together in unexpected patterns might demonstrate how consciousness naturally operates when freed from three-dimensional processing constraints. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep and your consciousness begins to shift into its more fluid dreaming state, remember that you are embarking on a journey that mirrors the cosmic mystery we've explored together. In dreams, you naturally access forms of awareness that transcend the ordinary boundaries of space and time, offering glimpses of the multidimensional nature of existence itself. The edge of space isn't an ending, but an eternal beginning, forever inviting consciousness to expand beyond its current horizons and discover the infinite creative potential that lies at the heart of all being.